I decided to do a bit of accounting today, and I've been thinking about what is income because I got paid last week. So, what is income in this accounting thing? By the way, that's the mat. I do a bit of stretching in the morning, and the thing mm, roll. I and it helps me with it, and the towel I put on top of the mat. Um, so what is income? I got paid in this accounting thing. What is income? Because I decided I'm not going to be able to do this as in discipline that you learn everything and then you make a test and then you apply. It's more like, well, this happened. What is this? And that's the case. I got paid. What is getting paid? So, getting paid, paycheck is revenue. Revenue. So, how much the money that comes in? It's the revenue in terms of accounting. Oh, by the way, in the description you can find a link that explains this. Someone, an accountant, made a video explaining this, and I put the link below so you may understand it better. But this is how I applied it to me, and I used the amounts that I used in the example for the yearly budgets. So I made 1,000 income, monthly income, and a few amounts per month of expenses. I might have gotten some wrong, but most of them are right. Well, accordingly to that, So the yearly budgets video. It doesn't really matter for this. So revenue is how much comes in, and I considered it to be 1,000, and the revenue is equal to paycheck. So I consider it to be 1,000. Then we subtracted the cost of goods sold. So the expenses one has to sell the goods. Obviously, I don't sell anything to go to work, but I do have expenses. I have transportations and I have to eat. And I wouldn't buy, I'm not saying I buy clothes to go to work, but I do realize that when I stayed at home, I had less expenses with clothes than I do now because I didn't use them, didn't wear them as often, and so they would last longer. And I didn't need it so much. Now I have daily need for clothes, and they wear off because they get washed, and washing also the wearing and washing wears clothes off. And yeah, for instance, we are now in the end of uh, the summer, and I'll have to change clothes for fall. If I was at home, I wouldn't have to bother with that because whatever I had in the house would do. I'm not saying I would go with whatever I have in the house if I went out, but if I just bought two or three pieces would be enough. Whereas to go to work, I need to buy I need to buy 7 to 14 up tops and bottoms, but still quite a difference. So costs of going to work, transportation, food, because I do eat at work. Sometimes I take food with me, but sometimes I do eat at work, and that costs money. And clothes. So I've considered that to be 230. So the income minus the costs of goods, transportation, foods at work, and closes turns out to be 770. That is his gross profit. Go and watch the video. He explains it, although it doesn't really matter for this. Then to the gross profit, we need to take out the operating expenses, the expenses we have in order to run the business. In my case, because I'm comparing the house with the business, because I have by running the house, and I've forgotten a few things here, but hey, and that would be utilities, the housing, and I don't know the name of it, and transportation, and these are the equivalent amounts. and that subtracted, the total would be 270 in operating expenses, and subtracting would turn out to be 500. 770 minus 270, 500 euros. Now that looks wonderful, but there are many things that were not um, put in here because I don't think they ought to, like debt, debt, like taxes, like what else? Like food, like food. I should have put food here, but I didn't. It doesn't really matter. It does matter. I mean, it does matter. Oh no, it doesn't. Oh, I know why I didn't. I didn't because I don't need to go to work. I eat because I need to eat. It's not something that I don't know whether or not I should put it in here. It's a good question. It is an operating expense. I need to eat. I'll put utilities. I don't need utilities to go to work too. So I should have put all the monthly expenses, all the other monthly expenses in here, and I haven't. Okay. The rest doesn't really matter, although it does. The margin, the operating profit margin means how much, what percentage of my income really is mine. And that would be the operating profit, which is this amount is 500. The gross profit minus the operating expenses is the operating profits divided by the revenue that we already know to be the income. So the operating profit 500 divided by the revenue, which is the income 1000, equals 50 cents. For each euro I earn, I have only 50 cents of profit, and if we multiply it by 100, we would have the percentage, which is 50%. Now, this is obviously wrong. A, these are not my expenses nor income, and B, I forgot to put all the other expenses here. So all the expenses I have, all the expenses we have in the house must be put in here, except those who are directly connected to work, like transportation, food if we eat at work or when we are out working, and clothes. Many people might not consider clothes, but if you, I guess if you, how should I call it? If you work in a formal environment, you have to have certain expenses with clothes that you wouldn't have if you worked in an informal environment. So I do believe clothes are important. All the rest must be here, and this was my mistake. So this, even in that mocked budget, is wrong. So I need all the other expenses here to be able to know the profit. But I know for sure it's less than 50% because all of this is already 50%. So it's less than 50%, which is a scary conclusion. I mean, for every euro I earn, less than 50% is mine. Well, I already know the food, and I'm referring to this as the budget before making the yearly budget, as it wasn't initially, because it's easier. Let me just 5, 3. I have no idea. My stomach is making noise. I don't know why. 35 cents. 35%. So if I include the food in here, and there were, I believe, a lot more expenses to be included. So this amount must be really low. This must be like 5, 10, 15% at tops, which is absolutely scary. Can you believe I'm going to give you 1,000 and you're going to remain with 50 or 100 or 150 years left? Okay, all the expenses will be paid. Well, not really. This doesn't consider taxes. Well, it does, because when I do get my taxes, when I do get my income, my taxes are already off. Still, from a 1,000 income to 100, huh, it's awful. So, what does this mean? Basically, it means working for someone else is not profitable because I don't earn enough. Oh, damn, my stomach is really making noise. Sorry. It's really not profitable because I'm not earning enough. So, in order to make this profitable, I would have to increase my earnings. But how does one increase one's earnings when working for someone else? I could, let's say I would ask for a raise and that would increase 500. Let's say it would be 500 more. And it's not doable. It's half a paycheck. It's not doable. It doesn't make sense. But let's go with it. Let's say that from the 350 we would have left, we would divide it by 100 and 1,000 and Jesus. Let's say that from the 350, which would now be our operating profit margin, we would divide by 1,500, which would be the new income or revenue. This would still give me 23%. Like 23% would be mine. It's ridiculous. So 1,500 from 1,500 times 23%, I would have 345 euros left, sort of, out of expenses. There are two things in here. Yeah, I can't grow my income paid by someone else this much. If someone can almost double, have a 50% increase in their paycheck, please let me know how. I would like to know. And the other thing is, it's not profitable to work for someone else. The other thing is the money that gets left after expenses, even with an increase of 50%, it's super low. It's super low. I know this is like, 345. Ooh. Let's divide this by 4 weeks. Let's divide this by 4 weeks. That's like 86 euros left. And that's me mocking, like making 500% more. 86%, 86 euros more. Even like you go out to eat, you spend this, you spend that, and you might end up with 100, maybe 150. That would be great. But this which is an amazing thing, means why it's so hard to have money. And by that I mean to have money left, to have actual cash, really have it. not earn it, not spend it, not whatever. Actually have it, because one receives unpaid expenses, and then the expenses I consider in the budget are the ones I know I'm going to receive. They are not the I'm passing through somewhere and oh, this is something I would need, and I had thought about it, but I haven't actually actively looked for it. But now that it's in front of me and I have the money to pay it, I will buy it. Or I'm starving. I don't know what time it is. I didn't plan to be here at this time. I'm starving. I'm going to eat. I don't care how much it is. I'm starving. I'm going to eat. Or, um, so the car is out of gas, and that's because I uh, went further or longer or took more drives than I was counting on. So I need to put gas. What is the minimum? Why would I put the minimum when I need to spend tomorrow or the day after for this and that? So I'll put already counting for that. Hopefully, will do for both, and I won't need to put more. So there are expenses that we can't consider, we can't predict, we can't even imagine are going to happen. And those are the ones we use this money in for. These are the ones we spend money in. Now, this money again is if there was a 50% increase. But let's see with this example where the revenue is 1,000, and let's consider that as in the video he explained I thought he was kidding, that has an operating profit margin of 50%. How much would that be? So 1,000 of income times 50% is 150 euros. Divide that by 4. Can't believe I'm going to do this, but it's less than 40. 37 euros and 50 per week. I mean, do you spend 37.50 per week and random expenses? Do you know if you spend this amount? I have a rough idea. I know my expenses, but I also know how much I like to eat. I can't. I like to eat, and when I'm hungry, I eat. So if I don't have something with me to eat, I'm somewhere out and there's food around, I'm going to pay for it because I can't starve. It's not that I'm going to starve, but that's how I feel. A little bit like Homer Simpson. Sorry, Homer. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. I note down my expenses, but I do it in an app. I think I've already mentioned it. It's called You Need a Budget. But I've never really, never really paid attention of how much I do spend in these unexpected uh, expenses, and I definitely didn't pay attention on a weekly basis. So You Need a Budget has reports, and it divides the bills in well, like a big pie and then slices, and then in each slice which ingredients. I have to create a slice uh, that covers all the expenses that are not monthly, like eating out basically, and the extra gasoline. Yeah, I'm going to do that. One that it's extra gasoline, because I know how much I give myself to put gasoline on a monthly basis. But as things happen, if I'm out of gas, I need to put some more. So I'll put one that it's extra gasoline. What else? What else can I spend money in? I'll create one that is food slash supermarket so that if I ever reach the yeah the weekly supermarket um, expense, I'll have the rest in the extras so that I know how much I go over. That will give me an idea. I had no idea, but I have a feeling this is something I have no difficulty spending. I don't know about you, but I don't.